A quiet parking lot, a single sentence, and a choice that rewrote everything I thought strength looked like. What if the moment you fear becoming dependent is actually the moment you finally learn how to live? Texting from the parking lot because his shoe broke and he needed the roll of tape I always kept in the glove compartment. Pride in practical solutions, our family legacy. I went to buy groceries and came home with something far more precious. A revelation that reshaped my entire understanding of family strength and what it means to accept love. In the amber glow of a supermarket parking lot with storm clouds gathering overhead, my son spoke words that divided my life into before and after. I believed I knew what independence meant. I thought I understood my role as a mother. I was wrong about both. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments. Whether you're in Seattle or Miami, Boston, or Denver, I want to imagine your streets as I share this story with you. My name is Susan. I'm 52 years old, and this is the night everything changed. The parking lot behind the grocery store glows with that harsh fluorescent brightness that makes everything look slightly unreal. Shopping carts scatter across the asphalt like abandoned thoughts. Mine has a squeaky wheel that creates a rhythmic soundtrack to my evening routine. Inside the cart, milk, bread, fresh vegetables, jarred pasta sauce, the ingredients of a woman too tired to cook from scratch tonight, that distinctive scent that promises a storm. The air smells like approaching rain mixed with hot pavement. I tell myself I'll drive home, heat something simple, fold the laundry while half watching the news. Just another ordinary Tuesday evening in an ordinary life. Then I hear a car door close with that distinctive gentleness I'd recognize anywhere. My son Daniel has always closed doors carefully, as though even inanimate objects deserve consideration. He crosses the parking lanes with his hands in his jacket pockets, wearing that half smile that makes him look exactly like he did as a little boy, hopeful and concentrated at once. His hair is longer than when I last saw him. There's a crease between his eyebrows that seems new, though perhaps I've been avoiding noticing how much he carries now. We've both mastered the art of pretending we're not exhausted. "Hey, Mom," he says, and the word arrives like a gift he's giving himself. "I was in the neighborhood." That's what people say when they've driven across town deliberately but don't want to admit it. I lift my hand in greeting, then drop it uncertainly. "Hungry?" "I just bought tomatoes always." He takes the cart handle naturally, and we walk toward my car together. Our footsteps and the squeaking wheel create a familiar rhythm. The weather app predicted rain at 7 and it's 6:59. It's strange what you learn to predict after living long enough. I can feel it coming. That particular heaviness in the air before a storm. Weather patterns how strangers will respond to small talk, the shape of days that all look the same. We load the trunk and practice synchronization. He passes. I arrange. This is our wordless language perfected over decades. He notices the fresh tint on the bumper. "You okay?" "You're certain about this?" I say. "This isn't you trying to rescue me like you tried to rescue that injured bird?" That bird had a broken wing and a terrible attitude. He says, "You have a stubborn streak and perfectly functioning legs." "I'm not rescuing you. I'm standing beside you." There's a difference. The rain intensifies, creating patterns on the windshield that make everything feel suspended in time. We sit inside the small, warm circle of the car and let the parking lot transform into an aquarium of reflected lights. He tells me about the transfer details, about the apartment with east-facing windows, so mornings will be bright. About the couch he found that converts to a guest bed because he's practical in the way I tried to teach him. About the house plant he killed despite his best intentions. He tells me he signed nothing permanent, that he won't move into my space unless I want him to. That he'll respect how I organize things even when it seems particular, like keeping spices in alphabetical order, not because it's efficient, but because it's my ritual. He tells me he's been seeing a counselor weekly, that talking is exercise for the heart, and he wants to be strong in the ways that matter. He says he was wrong about the argument after the funeral. He says, "I'm sorry," like a promise, not a plea. I listen. He's always been loud with laughter and quiet with his plans. I suppose he's finally learned to bring the private things into the light. The pride I feel is an old coat that still fits perfectly, warming me from the inside. Remember when you were 9? I say, and you wanted to learn to ride without training wheels. He nods. You kept saying, don't let go. Don't let go. And I promised I wouldn't. I pause. I lied. I let go 3 houses before you turned around. You were furious until you realized you'd done it independently. He leans back, watching raindrops chase each other down the glass. You never really let go, he says quietly. You just ran beside me where I couldn't see. It's a small sentence, but I feel it land precisely where my fear lives. And for once, that fear loosens its grip slightly. I reach over and cover his knuckles with my palm. His skin is warm. We hold like that. Mother and son, 2 sets of bones fitting together in a quiet that isn't silence, but the sound of something being repaired without commotion. I don't want to be your burden, I say again, because it's the hardest belief to unlearn. He nods because he's not here to argue with my deepest fears. You won't be, he says. You'll be my reason. There's a difference. The rain releases fully now, a curtain between us and the world. Everything outside blurs the way it does in a car wash, but we remain still. He turns the wipers on and the glass clears, and I can see the undeniable fact that my life just gained a second pair of hands. Maybe that's what changed everything. Not the practical arrangements, but the permission he gave me to stop being alone in ways I decided were necessary. What if I say yes? I ask. It sounds like a test, but it isn't. It's the kind of question you ask when you want to feel the weight of a word before you hand it the keys to your life. Then we'll move slowly, he says. We'll make lists. We'll argue about priorities and laugh anyway. We'll tell each other when we're scared. We'll learn to let each other help sometimes. I breathe. The air feels different, as if it finally belongs to me. I imagine the light in his new apartment, those east-facing windows with morning pouring in like a promise you don't have to chase. I imagine Sunday mornings reading the paper together. I imagine debating which pot is best for soup. I imagine being someone who's allowed to sit while someone else brings in groceries, and that being neither defeat nor indulgence, but simply an act of love. In the rear-view mirror, I catch my own reflection and don't look away. The lines are there. So are my mother's cheekbones and my father's determined mouth. I look tired, yes, but also like someone who might finally be ready to set down a heavy bag. Okay, I say. The kitchen smelled faintly of this morning's coffee and the lavender candle I'd burned earlier, trying to dispel the day's heaviness. As he sits on the counter, I caught myself imagining him here regularly, not just as a visitor passing through, but as part of the daily rhythm of my life again. The thought was both strange and comforting, like rediscovering an old song and realizing you still remember every lyric. We unpacked quietly. Tomatoes, bread, milk, each item finding its designated place. It felt symbolic somehow, this ordinary act of creating order. When the bags were empty, Daniel leaned against the counter and looked at me in a way that made me straighten my shoulders defensively. But his eyes were gentle. "Mom," he said, "when you're ready, I want you to tell me everything about the doctor's appointment, about what keeps you awake at night, about whatever you think you can't say aloud. I'm not rushing you. I just want to know." For years, I'd practiced keeping my burdens folded and hidden like linens no one needed to see. But here he was, asking me to unfold them, to let him hold a corner of the weight. My throat tightened again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was the ache of realizing that love, even adult love between parent and child, meant being willing to be seen at your most vulnerable. I nodded. "And will," I said, my voice steady but quiet. "Maybe not all at once, but I will." He didn't press for more. Instead, he opened the bread, pulled out 2 slices, and put them in the toaster as if it were the most natural response in the world. The click of the lever, the hum of heating coils, the faint scent of wheat filling the air. It was all so ordinary, and yet I felt something extraordinary rising between us, the beginnings of a new chapter, one where I didn't have to be only the mother holding everything together, but also a woman allowed to lean, to rest, be cared for. When the toast popped, he handed me a slice plain, just as I preferred it late at night. I took it, my fingers brushing his, and smiled. Simple but enough. We ate in silence, the kitchen light humming softly above us, the world outside hushed by recent rain. And in that quiet, I realized something profound. It wasn't just his words in the parking lot that changed everything. It was the way he meant them, the way he'd grown into a man who could look at his mother not as a figure of endless strength, but as a person worth standing beside. As I watched him finish his toast, I knew that from this night forward, nothing between us would be quite the same. And for the first time in a very long time, that thought didn't frighten me. It gave me hope.